John Lennon would say that his mother always taught him as a little boy that the secret to life was happiness. And the first time his school teacher gave the class an assignment, and she said to go home and write down the secret of life. When he came back, he had written on his note that it was indeed the secret of life was happiness. And the teacher told him, you know, obviously you don't understand the assignment. And so here's this little boy, and he looks at her and he goes, well, obviously you don't understand life. And so when we are in this place of consciousness, we have been talking about since Easter, about the potentiality to have a divine awakening, to have a rebirth, to have an aha moment, an epiphany, or something that brings us to the greater awareness of the necessity to allow the truth to speak through us in our own lives and to follow our own inner guidance as leaders. I was thinking about, as we're talking about today, Myrtle Fillmore and Emma Curtis Hopkins, I was thinking about when I just started in June. It will actually be 25 years ago, on June the 2nd, that I started as a minister. I was thinking about, thank you, I feel that. I was thinking about how when I first started, I was just doing it the way my teacher did it. I was doing it the way I saw someone else do it. In front of the room, I was doing it the way Robert Schuller was doing it. I was doing it the way someone else had touched me. And when it really became true for me is when I started allowing God to do it through me. Allowing God to do it through me. Now that's not my sacred story, that's all of your stories. And that's what we're talking about today. You can change your life today by allowing today to change your life. You want me to say that again? You can change your life today by allowing today to change your life. And what we're talking about today is we're talking about the difference between, like John Lennon told the teacher, you're just seeing things as face value. So many people go through life and they see it as face value. The news says, the doctor says, my parents said, somebody said, and this is what I'm taking in. But we are here today, all of us, because someone believed in a faith-valued life. Do you agree with that? It's a faith-valued life. And the reason that it's not seemingly for the masses always, even though we want that to be true, is because faith is about seeing something that we don't see. Right? That's why it's called faith. I mean, you're in the energy field of it, you're dreaming of it, you're visualizing it, but it requires faith because you can't see it. And so you're holding in prayer, you're holding in affirmation, you're holding in your consciousness something that you're moving into, but it's not anywhere often that you can see on the immediate. And the secret is not going back to face value. The secret is not going backwards, but moving forward. Our matriarch here, Reverend Catherine Robotham, one of the greatest teachers Unity has ever had, she said it very clearly. I have unshakable faith in the absolute outpicturing of this situation, and God is in absolute control of my life. Do you love that? Do you love that? And that mantra is what brings us, many of us sometimes here, to a place of knowing the truth, even though we're not able to see it. And that quote is all over the world. I love I love Stephen Krugler. Maybe that's what he's going to be. He was our youth and family minister for many years. And he just moved to Houston. And Stephen, about 4 years ago, had open heart surgery, and it was very serious. And we made the quote of Reverend Catherine, the big poster. And BB did calligraphy, and we all signed it. Do you know that when I went to his home, in one of his rooms, was that poster hanging on the wall? I have unshakable faith in the perfect outworking of this situation. And when we think about our leaders of unity, when we think of Emma Curtis Hopkins, do you know that Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was the teacher of teachers, she taught the Fillmores, Charles and Myrtle, she taught Ernest Holmes of Science of Mind. They all hung out together. Can you imagine the stories they were telling? They all hung out together. Emma was a student of Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of Christian Science, so that's why we're all cousins. But in that place, when Emma Curtis Hopkins went to college at 15 years old, she was such a genius that they actually asked her right then and there to join the faculty of college. And so here she was in the late 1800s bringing these ideas into fruition, into the awareness. She would say very often, never before me is a sick person coming to be healed. Only a whole person is coming to me in order that they be recognized. Never is a sick person coming to me to be healed, but a whole person coming to me to be recognized. And Charles Fillmore would go on to say, often when she taught a class, invalids would come into the room, and when they left her class, they could walk again. They were healed because she held such a presence of what was possible energetically and what could be true. Isn't that powerful? But often when she would feel like, where do I get my faith lift? How do I move forward with my faith? She would say very clearly, there is one life, that life is God, and that life is my life right now. Fill that with me. There is one life, that life is God, and that life is my life right now. Do you realize the energy that you're pulling into that? That when you're feeling a little wobbly, when you're feeling a little off, maybe you've had too much sugar, or, a little bit of what happened the night before, whatever that might be, whenever you're questioning, whenever you're wanting to go back to face value in your life, for you to stand in that place and affirm, there's only one life. There's the only separation that we ever have is the one that we project onto the situation and onto ourselves. You see. Because anytime there could be the absence of love, because love is the greatest love of all. It's from self-projecting that it's absent. Does this work for you today? Are we on the same page?
Yes.
What is it that you see within your family? What is it that you see within your workplace? What is it that you see with your children, your grandchildren? What is it that you see with your husband or any part of your past? Do you see the wholeness? Or do you continue to hold something in its sickness? What details are you holding on to? What is right? What is well? What is holy? Or what is wrong? I had the pleasure yesterday to marry this young couple from Ohio over at the beach. And as I do the vows, I love to say at the end, and you have a choice every day to recognize that no priest, no minister, no rabbi can ever marry you. It is the commitment that you make to marry yourselves. And it's an everyday marriage. Marriage is every day. Life is every day that you can either look at what is the wholeness of your life, or you can focus on what isn't working and what you say is working against you. Can I get an amen? Amen. And it's a train. What we do is we learn to train our mind to let go of that chatter. That's what we do. It requires training, and it becomes a skill in our lives. Emma Curtis Hopkins would say clearly that there are three things that get in the way for us to really be immersed in that practice of faith. The first thing is willfulness. That's a very nice way of saying you're stubborn-headed. Don't you like it? You can call it any kind of thing, but it doesn't sound as harsh if you make it sound like a more important word. But she would say people's willfulness gets in the way because they're determined to do it their way. They're pushing against the door, pushing against the door, rather than just letting the door alone for the closed door that opens and waiting for a new door to open up. And she said it's that. In my book, When Did You Die?, I talk about how it's either my way or the highway. Where do you live? Where do you live in the consciousness of allowing life to nurture you? Determination to do it your way? Or allowing the highway, the highest way, to reveal itself to you? That's why in your prayer work, in affirmations, everything you declare in, you always want to say, I long for this or something better. Something better. Because we never know what kind of blessings or what kind of surprises that we're able to get from the universe. The other idea is that she said, people think that life has to be hard. Life has to be hard. It's like, okay, let me get through this. Let me make it through this. There's a big difference between working hard and hard working. Learn to make that distinction in your own life. Working hard means that you might be doing a lot of things you don't want to be doing. Working hard might mean that you compartmentalize your life. That you affirm, oh, I have fun when I'm with my grandkids. Oh, I dread going to work. Oh, I have to go do this for this group of people. It's we compartmentalize and we create a sense of separation in our day-to-day activities. At least I was aware at one point that I did that. Am I the only one? I'm either hitting a point or you're going, what? Yeah. So we compartmentalize and we're not even aware of how we're affirming faith into those situations. We're affirming, like some people when they go to work and they automatically become so serious. I'm at my job now. Sorry, I'm at my job. Can't talk, I'm at my job. They free me at 5. Yeah. It's that kind of energy that we have decided. We have decided where the fun is. We have decided where the energy is. We have decided where the chemistry is or where it isn't, right? Hard work is when you realize that everything that you're doing in life, you are expressing the job you came to do here on earth. And so if it's with your family, that's your job to do. If you're sitting on a pew beside the person that you would like to connect with, that's your job to do. If you are with your animals, that's your job to do. If you have more animals than you can count, well, that's your job to do. Wherever you are living that faith live, wherever you are. And so your life then becomes not a 1 or 2 times a year that you look forward to going on vacation, or you're retired and still can't set boundaries to allow your entitlements. It becomes then that your whole life is a vacation. Because wherever you are is where you're supposed to be, and you're not compartmentalizing that energy, but you're showing up in a place of, what is mine to do today? Does that resonate with you? Yeah. In any way, because see, we stay connected to spirit, because everything that happens is not an interruption. It's what's supposed to happen to bring into that particular moment of your life. And the third thing she said is that when you are really living your spirituality and you are living into your bliss, you don't need recognition. You don't need recognition. I mean, can you imagine those women today, Emma Curtis Hawkins and Emily Cady and Myrtle? They would all be on Super Soul Sunday. But none of them set out for that kind of energy. They never were looking for, oh, please notice me and please recognize me. They were into people recognizing themselves. That's where they felt the work was. When you come from that place, be it with a child, be it with a relative, be it with other people that you work with, when you're coming from the place that it no longer matters, that someone has recognized you, then you will actually see the recognition of grace coming in your life every day. Because you will have recognized yourself. Stop asking others to do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself. Everybody take a big breath. I know somebody went, uh-oh, somebody stepped on my toe. Okay. I know, it's Mother's Day, so I think of my mom, so I'm very Southern today. I get that. I just want you to know I get that. It's coming through. Myrtle Fillmore, wow. You know, they all follow that living principle that it's easier to take a pebble out of your shoe than it is to learn how to walk with a limp. It's easier to take a pebble out of your shoe than it is to learn to walk with a limp. What is it within your life today that is your pebble? What is it that you could take out? You could actually leave it here in the sanctuary or on your carpet. And leave it behind. Leave it behind. Leave it at the door. Don't continue to walk with a limp. Don't continue to settle for just this okay idea of yourself. Myrtle Fillmore's mantra that she said all the time was, I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit disease. I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit disease. And she held that space as someone who was told at 40 that she was going to die of tuberculosis. And she outlived, doubled her life expectancy. She not only went on to live, she went on to live fully. And she affirmed all the time the mastery of her body and taught us how to do the same. That consciousness, that life force that she would call in. And she also is the one in the late 1800s that taught people to value children. With her magazine, Wee Wisdom, now we talk about children who are indigo, they're gifted, they're blessed, they're super gifted, they go to all these talented schools. Myrtle Fillmore's take on it was every child is that gifted. Every child has that divine wisdom within. Seek it and draw it out. Teach children not what to think, but allow them how to think for themselves. And what we owe Myrtle Fillmore, that we can be here today as our matriarch of unity. In closing, I would like to share with you the mantra in my own life that brings me from a faith reality to a faith reality. This is the greatest moment that you and I have ever lived. We've never been better or greater or more alive than we are right now. You see, as long as we believe there is a better yesterday, or that tomorrow holds for us some guarantee, we're missing out on the greatest moment that we'll ever have, and that's right now. For right now, in this moment, is where we can make a change, where we can make a new choice, where we can make a new decision, where we can actually have a new thought. Because we truly are empowered individuals. Thank you for your level of empowerment. Thank you for being with us today. And God bless you on this amazing journey that we call life. Thank you.